Suppose A, B, and C are non-zero real numbers, and A plus B plus C equals 0. What are the possible value or values for A over absolute value of A plus B over absolute value of B plus C over absolute value of C plus A times B times C over absolute value of A times B times C? Let's start with this question with answering x divided by absolute value of x, which is this value is equal to, if x is positive, these are non-zero real numbers, so either positive or negative. If x is positive, then absolute value of x is just x divided by x equals 1. Example, 5 over absolute value of 5 equals 1. If we have x is less than 0, then x divided by absolute value of x is equal to x over absolute value of x must be negative x to make it positive. Then x divided by negative x becomes negative 1. Example, let's say x is negative 7. Negative 7 divided by absolute value of negative 7 is equal to negative 7 over 7, which is negative 1. So these absolute values are either positive 1 or negative 1, depends on the sign of the real number. Then let's think about actually the first part. If we see the sum of these non-zero real numbers is equal to 0. And from here, we understand, since they are non-zero real numbers, at least one of the real number has to be negative. Either, let's say, A is negative, B and C are positive, or we can have two negatives and one positive so that we can get 0. They can't all be positive. The sum has to be positive if that's the case, or they can't all of them negative. If this is the case, then the sum is a negative value. So either one of the numbers is negative, two of them are positive, or two numbers are negative and one of them is positive. Let's see the first case, case 1. We have one negative and two positives. Let's say A is less than 0, B is greater than 0, and C is greater than 0. We have case 1, one negative and two positive. In this case, A divided by absolute value of A, since A is less than 0, will be negative 1, plus B divided by absolute value of B will be positive 1, since B is greater than 0, and C divided by absolute value of C is also positive 1, plus A times B times C. We have one negative and two positive. The product is negative. Then divide by absolute value of A times B times C will be negative 1. And overall, if we add them up, we get 0 in the first case. If we change the order of this negative, if let's say B is negative and the others are positive, we are going to get the same thing, which is 0. In the second case, let's make them a little bit smaller. Second case, what if we have two negatives and one positive? Case 2, we have two negatives and one positive. Let's say again, A is less than 0, B is less than 0, and C is greater than 0. Then we have A divided by absolute value of A is equal to negative 1, since A is negative, plus B divided by absolute value of B is also negative 1, B is negative. C divided by absolute value of C will be positive 1, C is positive. A times B times C divided by absolute value of A times B times C. Since we have two negatives and one positive, the product is positive, then this quotient will be positive 1. Overall, if we see that two negative 1 and two positive 1, the sum is again 0. So in both cases, we have the only possible value for this expression is 0. Answer is option A.